In the beginning, in the very beginning, when God created earth, he called on the peoples of the earth. They all arrived, and God began generously giving away. Oceans, seas, and Wayne Rooney to the Englishmen, mountains to the Austrians, plains to the Russians, dances to the Spaniards, music to the Italians, wine to the French. The Bulgarians arrived last because they had a lot of work to do. God received them, smiled, and said,
I shall not let you go with empty hands. That's why I shall give a little bit of every wonderful piece that I already gave away to the other peoples.
And today, modern Bulgarians have chosen to reveal to you these 24 wonders. You will see 7 of them now.
Perperikon is the name of a Thracian sacred city. It is located a mere 7 kilometers away from Kyrgyzstan, which is the biggest Bulgarian city in the eastern part of the Rhodope Mountains. The Tsar's castle is carved in the rocks and is claimed to have occupied 10,000 square meters. The Acropolis is built out of huge stone blocks, and the wall is 3 meters thick. Interestingly, some of the stone altars were used for sacrifices of animals and humans. The megalithic monument of Tatul is 35 kilometers away from Kyrgyzstan. The place was used for sacrifices to the god of the sun because of the direction of the monolith, which points towards the sun on the equinox. For that reason, the monument became known as the Bulgarian Stonehenge. The Rila Monastery is the biggest monastery in Bulgaria and one of the largest in Southeast Europe. It is snugly located in the majestic, venerable woods at 1,100 meters above sea level and is only 120 kilometers from Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. For more than 10 centuries, the Rila Monastery has been the center of worship dedicated to spirituality and beauty. The monastery keeps impressive pieces of Christian art. The main church building has the biggest gold-plated iconostasis in Bulgaria, decorated with amazing wood carvings. The monastery museum keeps the Holy Cross made from a whole piece of wood by Master Raphael, with 104 religious scenes and 650 miniatures. Legend has it that the master worked on the cross for 12 years and lost his eyesight when he finished it. Veliko Turnovo was a center of political, economic and cultural activities for more than 200 years during the Second Bulgarian Kingdom from the 12th to the 14th century. The Tsar's castle and the Patriarchate, the two main institutions of that time, were located on Mount Tsarovets, and many administrative and residential buildings were built down the slopes. The Tsarovets fortress was the main Bulgarian fortress in the Second Bulgarian Kingdom. At that time, the slopes of the hill were covered by residential buildings, craft shops, and numerous churches split into quarters. Excavation work discovered more than 400 residential buildings, 22 churches, and 4 monasteries. Arbanasi is a unique settlement 4 kilometers away from Veliko Turnovo, famous for its old castle-like houses, churches and monasteries. Visitors can see the Hadjilieva and Konstantsilieva houses, several of the churches, the birth of Christ from the 16th century, and Saint Archangel Michael from the 17th century, which possess rich fresco collections. The Belogradchik rocks are unique rock formations located in the western part of the Balkan mountain range. They cover an area that is 30 kilometers long and 15 kilometers wide. The rocks are located 170 kilometers northwest of Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. They are awesome conglomerates of sandstone and limestone with reddish, grey and yellow layers. The strange rock formations came into existence as the result of the impact of natural elements, rain, wind and sun, over more than 200 million years. Nature transformed the shapeless rocks into sculptures of mythical creatures and people, animals and birds. Nesebra is located on a small island connected to the mainland by a 400-metre neck. Nesebra is only 30 kilometres away from the Black Sea port of Burgas. Nesebra is also one of the oldest cities in Europe and is rich in architectural monuments from the Middle Ages. The city is heir of the old Thracian settlement of Mesambria, established in the 2nd millennium BC. In 1956, the city acquired the status of an architectural and urban reserve. It has impressive remnants from an ancient fortress wall, with a gate dating from the 3rd to the 4th century. It is also famous for its churches from the 5th and 6th centuries and from the Middle Ages, the 10th to the 14th century, which strike us as masterpieces of Bulgarian and Byzantine architecture. The unique atmosphere of the city is completed by 60 houses from the Bulgarian Renaissance, grouped in several locations. The ancient part of Nesebra is a cultural monument in the UNESCO list of the world's cultural heritage. Sozopol is the oldest city on the Bulgarian Black Sea coast. It is located 40 kilometers away from Burgas. The first settlement was established at the end of the 4th and the beginning of the 3rd century BC. Later, Greek settlers from Asia Minor founded the city-state of Apollonia. Apollonia was the biggest and richest city on the Black Sea, a center of intensive trade and art. Nowadays, Sozopol is one of the major tourist centers in Bulgaria. It combines ancient times and modernity. More than 200 houses dating from the mid-18th and beginning of the 19th century and the narrow cobblestone streets contribute to the romantic image of the old city. It has numerous churches, monasteries and chapels. The 7 Rila lakes are the prettiest cirque of 7 lakes in Bulgaria. The lakes are 2,100 to 2,500 meters above sea level in the northwest part of the Rila Mountains and are close to the town of Dubnica, which is 65 kilometers away from the capital city of Sofia. The lakes are terraced. The lower half of the cirque is surrounded by beautiful flower meadows with pretty mountain flowers, bushes of dwarf pine and healing juniper. The higher part is surrounded by majestic rocks which stand sentry to the lakes. The official numbering of the lakes is from top to bottom, and the names are as follows: the tear, the eye, the kidney, the twin, the trefoil, the fish lake and the lower lake. Water in the lakes flows from one down to the other and gives birth to the German River. When it is sunny and quiet, the lakes are calm and crystal clear, but when it is stormy, they look dark, intimidating and turbulent. In winter, they freeze and are covered with a thick layer of snow. Plovdiv is one of the oldest cities in Europe. The first settlement is about 8,000 years old. The old part is separated from the rest of the city as a reserve because of the characteristic architectural specificities of Bulgarian Renaissance houses bunched together on three hills: Nebet Tepe, Jambaz Tepe and Taksim Tepe. At the end of the 18th century, the so-called Plovdiv house style became established as the new style of urban housing. It has two major sub-styles, the asymmetric and the symmetric. The oldest asymmetric houses have artistic facades, odd bow windows, porches opening to the house yard, and vestibules with wooden colonnades on the ground floor. The symmetric style dates back to the 1830s and typically has a representative saloon, also known as a hayet, around which there is an even number of rooms of the same size. In addition to the symmetrical plan, those houses are characterized by rich Baroque decoration on the walls and traditional wood carvings on the ceilings, doors and built-in cupboards. This is the reason why the architectural phenomenon is known as Bulgarian Baroque. The ancient theatre, built by Marcus Aurelius in the 2nd century, is also located here. This is the most impressive building that has been preserved from Roman times.
I'm sure that you're already convinced the legend is true. Come to Bulgaria, see all wonders for yourself. I must admit, I was astonished.